What is going on, guys? Today we are looking at the SBCs for last week and seeing who is still worth it in the game. We've now got rid of quite a few winter wildcards. We've got Johnny Stones left. There is technically Diata left for 6 hours, but by the time you see this, more than likely he will be gone. So we have got a couple of extra Team of the Year honourables in here as well. Let's start off with the Player of the Month. So we've got Solanke, we've got Wirtz, we've got the Ukrainian striker, we've got Bromby, Pulisic, and also Aubameyang is the new one to add to today's list. So in terms of all of them, I believe most of them have got a little bit of time. I think, yeah, I was going to say, the La Liga's got 7 days, Bromby's got 10, you've got Serie A with 14, Prem with 13, Bundesliga with 20, and Aubameyang's only just come out, so he's got 26 to go. So in terms of looking at them as players, I think Aubameyang has definitely put himself in a good category. Everybody loved his radioactive card. Now the problem with this one is if you have done the radioactive, then he's a do not complete. You don't want to go and get literally the same card other than the chemistry problem. So that for me is the big thing with him. I do think 170 for him is a bit expensive for what the card is, especially as the radioactive was about 60 to 70k, but fair enough, you have got the 30 days during Team of the Year. Solanke, another very decent Prem striker, may not be top of the list, but most definitely adds a little bit of flavour to that Prem team. Wirtz, I like Wirtz. I think the big thing for Wirtz is maybe not even the card, it's more 50,000 coins for the SBC. It's very easy. It's an easy one to complete that I'm okay with. We've got the La Liga striker. I'm not a big fan of this 87. For 100,000 coins, not only is the card got an evolutions that I think is pretty much the same, he's got an inform that's 86 rated, that's 44,000. Naturally, because of evolutions and kind of informs needed in SBCs, that is going to be a little bit more expensive, but you can technically make this card himself an 89 upgrade. For me, that's just going to be a big don't complete for him. Bromby, on the other hand, he's coming in. I want to say he was a little bit cheaper. If we go over to the players, he's currently coming in at 44,000. So for an 86, I would kind of go nothing else to do. Then finally we have Pulisic at 76,000. Decent 87. Again, another card that more than likely will see evolutions surpass this card at some point. I don't think that's happened as of yet. I will double check just in case. He's got a 79, and technically how many versions? If you went cut inside, right side star and finisher, you could technically make him an 89. That being said, whether you've paid all of that for this card compared to just 40,000 coins, that's one that I can understand is at least semi-good value. He's a 4-star on the wing in the Serie A as well. Again, you could have the arguments between there's better wingers out there, but I do think he's kind of more in that category. So I think when it comes to the value side of it, I think you've got good value. Aubameyang, because of the previous SBC, I'd go nothing else to do, and I'd probably go something like that. Especially during Team of the Year, we have got a bit of extra surplus of cards, but again, we have a lot of SBCs and still more to come. The only good thing with the icons is it seems so far with what we've seen with the free batches that I've kind of identified throughout the year is we get a load of icon SBCs, they basically sit in a chunk. Then they slowly dwindle down, and then once we get to say like 4 or 5 left, they push them back up again. And then it does it again, it dwindles back down. By the looks of it, I don't believe there's any more leaked Team of the Year icons coming, so it should be now that I can imagine we'll have like a solid few weeks break without an icon SBC being brand new.
If your team's looking like this, then I have the place for you. Head over to U7Buy for all your coin needs. They're cheap, fast, and reliable, but make sure to use JT11 at the checkout for 6% off all of your coin orders.
But that is all in theory because Henry, Cafu, Zico, they are all players that have been out previously. Same with Ashley Cole, with Eusebio and Zidane. Well, maybe not Zidane, but Eusebio definitely. They are the kind of sprinkles on top. We have the whole promo, which Winter Wildcard was heavily based around SBCs anyway. But when it comes to it, we are more than likely not going to get too many more very, very soon. So we will have a look at them. Again, I'm going to go for the same when it comes to the top of this. We are now getting towards the end, I believe, of Zidane and Eusebio. They're the first two to go. We've got 12 days left for Zidane, and we've got 17 days left for Eusebio. The unique position we have got at the moment, being in Team of the Year, with the amount of upgrade packs that we've got, you should be able to go from square one and finishing him in them 12 days if you are grinding Team of the Year heavily. Not going to say it's easy by any means, because definitely it is still going to be a hell of a grind, but I feel like you've got more of a chance to finish off, say, a 1.8 mil, a 3 mil SBC in a short space of time, like Mbappe's Player of the Month, with Team of the Year. Without it, maybe not as much, but I do think they are still very, very worth the time if you've got them. Same with the Winter Wildcards. I do think there's a few now that I'm kind of half and half with, but again, when it comes to the cheapness of them, when you look at Suker at 84k, you look at Trezeguet at 86, especially with the grinded Team of the Year factor, if you don't want to finish any massive SBCs off, maybe you've finished all the big ones that you want, they're going to be great value for an extra fodder player at the minimum. If you've got nothing else to put your fodder into, they're going to be perfect because they really aren't that expensive. And I think that is about all of the cheap ones. I suppose you've got Roy Keane at 184. I think with Suker and Trezeguet, I at least like their playstyle a little bit, whereas Keane, I just think needed that bit extra help, to be honest. So I'd go nothing else to do with him. When we look at the rest of them then, we've obviously got Bobby Moore, not a big fan of, to be honest. I thought Luis Hernandez is definitely cheaper as well. 93, yeah, it's good value for an icon at a minimum. We have got Ian Wright coming in at 730. Now, the arguments are always going to be based around your wingers. So you're going to be looking at any sort of winger SBC from a George Best to him to a Kvaratskhelia. There's a lot of wingers that we've had and have at the moment in packs, in SBCs, that could sway your decision on him. I think he's semi-decent-ish value. I don't think he's absolutely crazy. 90 rated, decent winger, but I would probably still go... I'd say he's all right value, but I'd still say nothing else to do, just because I do think the card itself is decent, but I think he could have been cheaper. If I'm being brutally honest, I feel like he could have. Same with Del P. I think both of them fall into the same category. I like the card, but I do think with him as well, he's currently coming in at, if I can find him on this list, 727k. It's quite expensive, because he's a name. That is always what it's going to come down to be. I still think Maldini is incredible, dependent on your partnership already. If you've got a Team of the Year there, if you've got a Gold Virgil there, maybe you don't need him as much, but I still think he is absolutely sensational going forward. And then we have Ashley Cole. I'm not a big fan. 730k for me is going to be a not to complete. I would actually probably go over Alphonso Davies instead. But then we have got Henry, Zico, and Carfu. They were the SBCs prior to Team of the Year. I think Carfu is incredible, a very good player nonetheless, so he's a must. At 650, if you're going to go and get a fullback of any sort of nature, he's going to be one that is going to elevate your team, and I don't think there's too many other than maybe a Frimpong Team of the Year, his Thunderstruck version, I suppose. I'd say that's probably about it in terms of right backs that actually beat him to that kind of starting lineup. Henry, on the other hand, only 1 million coins for him. I actually really like Henry this year. I don't know if I'd class him as a must complete, but I do think he's very, very top end. The only thing that's swaying me for a must complete is if you haven't finished Mbappe, if you haven't finished Eusebio, the big thing that this Henry has this year is going to be Rapid Plus. That is a sensational playstyle plus to have on a card that is already very, very quick. So I'd argue between the two. I'm going to go in a must complete if you need a striker. Then we have got Zico, another great card in the cam role. Again, this will all depend on, have you finished Bruno? Have you finished Zidane? Have you got any other cams that sit in that role? Because when it comes to Zico, he's a 5-star Brazilian. He's 1.5 mil. Very, very expensive to just put him on the bench. But I do think in terms of him, I like him more of a cam basis, kind of a bit more than Bruno, mainly from that pace sort of scenario to some extent. But when it comes to Zico, I do think he is at a fair price for an icon as well. So then we move on to some of the actual players that we've got. So if we have a look and, in fact, we've got Sauer still. Very, very good card. Whether I'd say she's a full... I've got George Best as well. Unbelievable. Now, George Best is one that I've definitely kind of come to regret a little bit on starting. We've used his loan. Naturally, his loan is always there. Same with any icon. So if you are unsure with any of these, before starting them, give them a go on their loan. Trust me, it will save you so much, because I started best mainly because we had fodder just burning in the club and I didn't really fancy doing anybody else. Now I'm kind of like, he's okay, and I think the value for a Team of the Year icon, a double playstyle plus, is good enough. I don't think it's necessarily terrible, but I think I'd rather have done Ian Wright, to be honest with you. He just isn't quite in that same category anymore. I've got Garincha in the main team already, so I was kind of a little bit taken back that I actually started him, but he was just a panic SBC, and now I'm halfway done with him, and I really don't want to do him anymore. Sauer, on the other hand, I think is a very decent card. 1.4 mil, little bit better on that pricing. I'm not a massive fan of the playstyle pluses, press proven and relentless. They have their uses, but it's not necessarily my absolute must. I'd probably go in good value. I do think a lot of people would put her in must complete, but in terms of centre mids that we've got, I feel like she is kind of just good value. I don't know if I'd say she is massively going to, you've got to do this right now. And then we move on to the players. So we've got a few still left. Like I said, we've still got Stones. Not a big fan because he did get an Evolutions that was free, or yeah, I think he was free. And you could have done it literally the next day. So that one will always remain there. We then have Gavi. Gavi's got a few more days left. 4 days to go. Sterling's already gone now. I think for me, he's still going to be nothing else to complete. Because even with the card, I think it's a good upgrade on him. He has the links to Pedri. He's got links to Spanish, Barcelona. Very nice indeed. But I just don't think the card is that good. I really don't. I would much rather go and do a lot more of an expensive SBC than put my 250 into him. Naturally, you only have to do one, so that is fair enough. But I'd rather save that fodder and go somewhere else and put it into a better CM. I'd rather go do Trezeguet for 80,000 coins instead, just if I'm looking for a centre mid of a kind of mid caliber. We then have the expensive lot. So these, I don't know why we've gone so expensive. So Bruno's coming in at 1 million coins. Alfonso's coming in at 995. We've got Alex Morgan at 580. We have, I was going to say Aubameyang. We have Conte at 680. We have Kvaratskhelia at 700. And we have Modric at 1 mil. They went all out for the most expensive. And to be honest, a little bit lackluster with a few of them. So Bruno was the biggest talking point from last video, and I've taken everything on. Don't think I don't read anything, but when it comes to it, I still stand by what I say. And yes, maybe I was looking too heavy on that cam roll and kind of neglected the fact that if I'm looking at him, I'm kind of looking at him how I do Zidane. He is more of a box-to-box for the team, and that is definitely where he would play. But my argument between Zidane and him would stand. Yes, Zidane is a few 100,000 coins more, but he's a 5'5". Yes, defending-wise, Bruno definitely has the upper hand, but I do think Zidane still offers a lot more in his card, in his prime. If this card was 1 million coins and he was a double playstyle plus, I'd be absolutely on board for it. But I think because he doesn't, long ball pass is decent. I still stand by he's just not good enough for 1 million coins. It doesn't have the free chemistry bonus. Yes, pace can always be increased. Defending at 80 is definitely not the worst. If you looked at an anchor for him, 86 pace, 86 defending, 87 physical. That is a solid card. And there was never dispute that the card is awful. It is more the pricing of it, if anything. So taking all that on board, maybe looking at him through a different set of eyes of kind of more of a centre mid rather than necessarily a cam, then I would say he's okay value. I still think the SBC price is awful. The card is good, so it's kind of a 50-50 if that's fair enough. Alex Morgan is still going to be nothing else to do. I just think even if the winter wildcard doesn't hold a torch to this 92, you're still looking at a 400k price increase for a card that is a 1+, not even a Team of the Year honourable, not even a flashback. It is just a squad foundation moment sort of card. I'm just not happy with that one. Alfonso, again, I'd go very similar to Bruno. I do think he is a very good card. 99 on the pace. You can add the defending physical, which is fine. But I do think a bit of a less price, 1 million coins for a left back, is a bit expensive when we are looking at Baka and Havertz, who are already come out at about 150 each. I just think that card is a tad bit expensive. Now Conte. He's one that I thought might have been better. I really expected Conte to come out absolutely swinging. They left him a few days. They didn't really give us any inkling. They gave him a relentless plus. I just don't get why. So we've got a double upgrade from him. His normal radioactive card, A, has the chemistry bonus if you needed it. France, I don't think needs it too much. But he has anticipate as well. I would much rather go with that radioactive than this 91 Conte. We've, yes, got a 6 pace increase. Love it. We've got 2s and 1s and 4s on everything else. I just think for an extra value of 500,000, he unfortunately just really lost the jackpot there. Again, 2-star, 3-star, no upgrade there. I just think keeping the anticipate would have been way better for this card. Now on to more venting about SBCs. Kvaratskhelia. 89 rated, you can go and finish him off with a finisher, still available for the next few days. You could spend, I don't even know how expensive it is. I think it was about 100,000 FIFA points, so that would be expensive. 100,000 coins. Where is finisher? He's got to be here somewhere. Is that gone now? It might have actually gone, but it still stands because when this came out, you could get the 89 for literally like 500 FC points at a max or 100,000 coins. This is coming in at a whopping, how much was it? 7 players. He's coming in at 700,000 coins. Why? Absolutely why? Especially when the radioactive is 88 rated, 1 rating lower, 260. All of them are 5-star, 5-star. You've got Trickster on the radioactive, technical on this one. You could argue between the toss that both of them are okay. But I think for me, that is just a no-go. Even over the the nothing else to do, I just don't think that one's worth it at all. And then finally we got Modric a couple days ago. Again, I like the card. The card itself, from what it was in the Road to the Knockout, is brilliant. But 1,000,000 coins. The only thing that kind of saves this card in some arguments for the 1,000,000 coins is he does have the double playstyle plus. That is a fair enough. Ping pass and also Travella. We've got, I believe it was Travella on his 93. That's coming in at 300,000 coins. So you can argue between the two, but every single one of them has the exact same stats. We've got 4-star, 4-star still. We've got all of the stats being exactly the same for the Road to the Knockout. Literally the only thing different with them is that pinged pass. For me, I don't think he is going in a must complete purely on the basis of 700,000 coins difference. For me, I think that's nothing else to complete, and it's a shame because I really like the Modric card. I think he's a very meta passing card. If they gave him incisive, I might have kind of reconsidered and put him into good value, but for me, I just think that is a little bit expensive for just pinged pass. But you can let me know down below. Make sure you like and subscribe on this, and don't cook Bruno too much. He's just a bit expensive. Peace.